Well, here it is, finally, my Venus retrograde report. So this beginning part is going to be sort of my point form, abstract themes that are all going to be covering because I have so many notes, it's insane. Venus has been in Gemini since the beginning of April, and we're not going to be out of the effects of Venus in Gemini and the retrograde until we hit about the first week of August. So because it is Venus, it is about partnership. It's about love. It's about all kinds of relationships. The ideals of love, the mystical, all of the different forms of love that have been articulated by the ancient Greeks. It's an amazing time for creativity. It's an amazing time for art, for poetry, for music. This is also a great time for digital communication. So if you're developing apps, software, there's a synergy happening between Venus and Mercury. And so anything that has to do with social media, especially social media, this is a great time for YouTubers. It's a great time for people promoting themselves on the internet. It's also a great time for learning, education in your particular field, whatever that is. Training, reviewing, upgrading your credentials. Excellent time for study. But this is the idea phase, the brainstorming phase, so that when the planets are moving forward again, we have all the information that we need. We've gathered all the tools necessary, and we can now proceed with a far more refined, reorganized, and workable plan to move forward. People who are on a spiritual path, who are stepping into their gifts and abilities in this regard, those who are seeking a deeper communion with the divine are likely going to find it. And then, the more vain things, because it is Venus and Venus is retrograde, it's a really bad idea to do impulsive haircuts, hair color, tattoos, all of that kind of thing. If you're going to do that kind of thing, it's because you've been working with somebody for a while on your design. Otherwise, you're really taking a chance. Be very careful about things like identity theft, especially if that's something that you've already been through. Venus in Gemini is going to stimulate a need for more freedom in relationships. So open relationships, all sorts of new sort of alternative ways to conduct relationships in this day and age. And, these things are already happening, but they're definitely going to get more support. Gemini is all about social. This is the season of the sapiosexual. So intellect is going to be an important factor in attraction. It's really not the best time to start a relationship. And in fact, it seems as though the theme of this particular Venus retrograde in Gemini is the kind of thing that's actually going to break relationships apart. We're looking at a lot of temptation towards toxic habits such as codependency, deceit, betrayals, acting out, and the danger zones for acting out are going to be anywhere from the last week of May through until mid-June. And again, there's this tendency towards impulsivity. And indiscretions, infidelity, love triangles. All of these things are definitely possible. It's not about preventing karma. It's about focusing on the karma that we've come here to deal with. If your relationship is not sturdy going into this transit, you're probably going to be dealing with a complete and total breakdown. But it's important to trust that this is divinely orchestrated, that whatever is leaving, the better you get at letting go of it, the faster you're going to get to your next destination in your story. The other kinds of low vibrational things is going to be entitlement. It's going to be acting out under the stress of being confined for so long. I'm also anticipating that by the way that the astrology is working, that something is going to happen in the collective that's going to actually make the lockdown even tighter. If we learn not to become attached to certain outcomes, we'll see that there's been a natural course of events that have been set into motion. So depending on your sign, the focus is going to be maybe a little bit different than somebody else, but these are just the general themes that we're all passing through right now through the collective. So how that applies to you is going to be your personal experience. It's ultimately your choice as to how you want to deal with the energies that are present for you now. So when we get to the mid-June zone, things are going to get pretty uncomfortable for most of us. That uncomfortability is about moving us out of whatever we've become too comfortable with. The other things that we need to be careful of is how we're dealing with truth in our lives and whether we're sticking closer to wishful thinking. But what all of this is bringing us to our sense of our own truth. We know what truth feels like. We know when we're living it, and we know when we're not. Venus retrograde in Gemini is going to encourage reason over passion. At the end of the day, self-love leads to better relationships across the board. Self-care is everything right now. And the more you take care of yourself, the more it's going to change the energy of all your relationships. It is your responsibility to put yourself first. We're all at different stages of learning, and it's going to be important through all of the tension that we're all going to be feeling to be compassionate to each other and to not get stuck in that thought pattern of, I'm in this all by myself. We are all walking a similar path. We're just expressing it in different storylines. So there's my all over the board themes for Venus retrograde. I'm going to be covering a lot more of these dynamics when I hit the new moon in Gemini report, when I hit June's report. We're going to be talking about Venus retrograde all summer long. So stay with me and enjoy your reading. Hey Cancer, and welcome to your very specific reading for the Venus retrograde in Gemini. So before I get to the cards, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how this is affecting Cancer specifically. So this Venus retrograde in Gemini is actually happening in your 12th house of the unconscious and self-undoing. So this will be a very, very intense time for you, Cancer. This is about spirituality. It's about the unconscious. It's about things that are buried really, really deep. This is like your walk through the underworld. And so essentially, you know, and it is the house of Pisces, so it's going to be very emotional for you to pass through this. Your mental health situation could need some extra attention. There's a less of an emphasis on sex for you at this time, Cancer. It's more about reevaluating your long-term goals and the intense changes in your family that are also taking place during this time period. So pay attention to your dreams during this time, because they're probably going to be giving you big clues as to what's going to help you most get through this time, or the things that you're going to need to dive into as we progress through this retrograde cycle. So I'm going to be reading the tarot from my Klimt deck and clarifying with the Rider-Waite. And then I'm going to pull a few cards for symbolism from the Lenormand deck. And then also see what chakra is in need of work for you. Okay, well, your first card came out. It's the Fool, but don't tell anyone. I'm going to pull 8 more. Three more. Oh, I guess that one. That one. And that All right, so what are the surrounding energies for you, Cancer? That is the Ace of Cups. So there's a few different things this could mean. This could mean a new beginning in love, but in the context of where this Venus retrograde falls for you, I'm going to say that this is a new level of self-love and self-care that you're going to be achieving. And sure enough, look at you being the successful one. At the center of your reading, you have the Six of Wands. So, so this is definitely something that your soul is in great need of. This particular time for you is going to be rich for the development of your understanding of your unconscious. So in the past, you've been the Fool, the Lovers, and the Queen of Swords. So, you know, there was a leap of faith that you took with a lover that ended icy cold. And you're in this period of significant change where you've built a home for yourself. Perhaps you're sharing a home with new people. And this has been a successful turn for you. Likely so that you can work on the things that you need to work on in order to remain strong. And yeah, your money is going to start coming in big time. There actually could be an earth sign that's going to be coming in the future who's going to help pull you out of this dark period. So let's get a little bit more clarity on some of these things. So for the Wheel of Fortune, what can we see? Yeah, the Queen of Wands. So this could be you, but it could also be in fire sign, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. And a Queen of Pentacles. Wow, the queens are coming out. So chances are you're surrounded by powerful women in your life at the present time who are helping you figure things out. And yeah, you know, you're sort of cutting out the details that have been, you know, tripping you up along the way because of the Two of Cups. So, yeah, you could have a young air sign, younger air sign, who is reaching out to you. But you see, this is the thing. This is the danger in this time period, is that we think we see someone who loves us, but they keep breaking our heart. And you have to keep sweeping it away. And so while, you know, it's good to get a practice run in every now and again, I think that, you know, my advice would be to follow, pardon me, what I said already for the astrology. And that is, it's not a good time to start anything, because it's likely just going to be a repeat of old patterns from the past that broke your heart before. You know, if you're entertaining someone new at this time, you kind of have to be thinking of them as short-term, or that they've come in to reaffirm that you've learned a lesson, because you have the opportunity to say no thank you, you know. Yeah, so there's justice in you building your own home for yourself. Apologies are likely to start coming in. So let's take a look at this Ten of Pentacles. How did that get on the board? Well, because you're working hard. And, you know, the people that you're working with are actually providing you with a really grounded place, regardless of the anxiety that you're feeling. And who is this Queen of Pentacles? Well, this is you recovering, or maybe you're moving towards, you'll be traveling to a Queen of Pentacles, an earth sign, for some rest. Possibly a retreat where you're going to be tapping into your intuition and digging really, really deep for the issues that need to be purged right now. Yeah, you're walking away from a whole bunch of stuff. And, you know, perhaps this one last broken heart will be the thing that catapults you into the next direction. Yeah, and you'll plant new seeds and start again, you know? So let's see what the Lenormand has to say in terms of symbolism for you, Cancer. Well, we've got the coffin. 2 more cards, please. The Scythe. Oh my goodness, yeah, you are like, there's nothing coming with you from the past. Nothing. And you're moving out real fast. Yep. It's like into a new set of circumstances. So this may be very good news for you, Cancer, because there is a definitive ending in play here. Ending of the old. One more kick at the can, but really just to solidify all the reasons why you knew you had to move on in the first place. Because it's all about your heart. It's about the heart chakra. And keeping it open, but you have to realize who's safe to keep your heart open with. All right, Cancer. Have yourself a great day.